So Todd Boehly right now and Chelsea look like they are about to trigger the release clause in Enzo Fernandez's contract, which would, if that deal happened, Paddy, take their expenditure in 2 windows. Now, you're already sitting down, so it's all right. You might want to strap yourself in for this, Paddy. In 2 windows, if this transfer went through, and this is before something I'm going to add to it a little bit later on, Chelsea Football Club under Todd Boehly will have spent deep breath, £600 million in 2 windows. £600 million. And Paddy, it gets worse for us Liverpool fans or any other fan, because it is breaking that Chelsea are also looking to make a last-ditch attempt to sign Moses Caicedo on top of any potential deal to sign Enzo Fernandez. So we could be looking at 650, 660, 670 million pound plus from Todd Boehly, who, by the way, just for shits and giggles, he's from a similar background to John W. Henry. You know, he runs his business in a similar way. So my question, Patrick, is if Todd Boehly and Chelsea can afford to do all of this and still run the club and still not end up shit creek, why can't we?
Very simple explanation. One owner is fresh, brand new, with a new goal and a new challenge, and another is stagnant, smelly, decrepit, and has made their money, have no desire to continue, have their eyes on a new project, and we are merely being strung along until they are ready for that, which is all the more reason to get them cockroaches out of the football club. And yeah, to see Chelsea, a prospective rival, a club who was always thereabouts, and, you know, for them to be linked with both Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, for both of them to be taken from our grasp, it's just such negligence. And yeah, it's insane. A lot of people would be like, how can Chelsea afford this? Abramovich wiped their debt. They come in with a clean slate, and they're giving everyone 8-year contracts, so it helps things be stretched out. So yeah, I'm very jealous of Chelsea. Not usually. I'm not jealous. Liverpool are by far a bigger and better club, and will always prefer that. However, I am jealous of their expenditure. That's what we should be doing, and that's what we need, actually.
Right now, as I'm looking through here the numbers, Chelsea spent £317 million so far before Enzo in the winter window, and almost 270 in the summer window. So those numbers are astronomical, Paddy. Now, the obvious question that everybody from any fan base, and probably Chelsea fans, is going to ask right now is, how are they going to get around FFP with this?
Well, I think it's an unprecedented situation for Chelsea. They're in, obviously, what happened with the war with Ukraine and Russia prompted Abramovich to be out of the club, and you know, he wiped their debt. Their debt, sorry.
$900 a week, by the way, Paddy. They lost per week, every week, over the tenure of Roman Abramovich's stay at Chelsea Football Club. So nearly £1 million a week, every week.
Yeah, and it was about $2 billion by the time it ended, right? And he wiped it all. So yeah, there you go. That's the first stage of it. And then you have owners coming in with just a total clean slate with fresh money, and it's scary. On top of that, the fact that they're giving out 8.5-year contracts to the likes of Mudryk is a key reason. You know, that's, if you can get a player to agree to an 8-year contract, that's probably a lot of reason. Now, that's something that could prove to be a very silly idea, because 3 years into that contract, that player could be deemed surplus to requirements, and then you're in trouble. But yeah, it's definitely something that will come back to bite them. But for the moment, they're able to do it, and God, am I jealous.
So, as we seen the other day, the money list came out again the other day, and Liverpool were the 3rd most cash-generating football club currently in world football, and Chelsea were a little bit behind us. And as we know, you know, we like to be told that we have a really high wage bill, and that's one of the reasons why we can't afford any transfers. I know for a fact that some of those Chelsea players are earning top dollar as well. So I guess my question is here, is it actually true that we can't afford any signings, or is it just a case of FSG again being cheapskates? Because we're in no danger of FFP at all. I've read through enough articles in recent weeks to know that we've a load of wiggle room there, and I mean a load of wiggle room, Paddy, with FFP. So for me, this is a decision from FSG not to spend rather than an inability not to spend.
Oh, absolutely. That is it. That's where we're at. They are choosing not to. They can't. We have been, and to be fair to them, to give them their dues, we have been managed exceptionally well in a financial sense. But that is now at the detriment of the team and the playing squad. You know, we were able to get along with it for a while because a lot of our players were in their prime, but now that we're in the decline, the prices that are needed to actually rectify that are astronomical. Like you're talking about the Enzo kind of deal, the Caicedo deal. It's just FSG not spending the money because they don't want to. They want to keep their money. They're looking to strip back their involvement, not improve it. And that's the exact reason why they're looking for shareholders and stakeholders. They can't actually physically do what we need them to do, or they don't want to, because as I said, their end game here is that NBA franchise. We know this. Their ambitions lie elsewhere, and they also have the Red Sox as well. So Liverpool are at the back of their mind. They don't care anymore.
So what we've seen over recent years with Chelsea, Paddy, is that they've liked to push the rules a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that they've broken the rules, but you look at the rules that UEFA have introduced to stop how many players can go out on loan from a club and stuff like that. That was all because of the relationships Chelsea had built up and sending their young players all around Europe to gain experience and then flog them on if they weren't good enough later for a profit. Now we've seen, like you mentioned earlier on, Todd Boehly dishing out 6, 7, 8-year contracts, and we've seen UEFA take steps to counter that by making it 5 years at a maximum. So my question here is, Paddy, FSG like to think they're the smartest guys in the room, but I see other American owners, and in this case Todd Boehly, find the little loopholes and ways to negate that, to invest into the playing squad and give the manager the tools that they need to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. They are absolutely not the smartest men or people in the room. In fact, there's many people outfoxing them constantly. And just the fact that we're not even involved in these discussions when we are the team in the league that needs the midfielders the most. Like we are the most obvious team in pursuit of midfielders. And we're not even in the conversations for Moises Caicedo, but we're letting our prospective rivals go there. Arsenal have already leaped ahead of us. They're a better squad than us right now. And if the signing of a Moises Caicedo ahead of us is double-ended. It improves them no end and stops us getting better. It's just a really scary time. And we're staring down the barrel of mid-table mediocrity again. Maybe not mid-table, but you know what I mean? Like not being involved. And it's just really depressing. And I don't see any faith. I don't have any faith in FSG. And I just pray there's something cooking in the background with new owners, because we will not ever reach the top table of the games, either European or English, with FSG at the helm.
So here's where I get confused again, Paddy. Just before I came on this evening, Connor sent me something that said that Liverpool are apparently talking with the likes of PSG, Juventus, or scouting around Europe to see if there are any loan midfield signings that can be done between now and when the window closes tomorrow. So my question on this one, Paddy, is we either need a midfielder or we don't. If we need a midfielder, you go get the right one. If we don't need a midfielder, then you don't do any business. So this bringing in Arthur Melo in the last one was an acceptance that, okay, we'll allow them that mistake. They've had the time between there and now, a World Cup, plenty of opportunity to line up a transfer. And here we are yet again, Monday, 30th of January, just before the window shuts, hearing about the potential of scrounging a lone player that nobody else wants from somewhere to boost us into Champions League football. Never mind that Chelsea, Todd Boehly and Arsenal and every other, Manchester United, other clubs are all looking to do bits. Now, I do understand United only brought in a lone player and striker, but they're in a better position than us at this moment in time in the league table. So have we got owners that are willing to write off an entire season? Because I, as a fan, don't want to write off an entire season, Paddy, and I'm sure you're probably of a similar mindset.
No, I don't, of course, want to either. I do believe, though, I will, we have to be fair here. The January market is notoriously a very difficult month to get deals done, and the fees involved are astronomical because players are being uprooted from their teams, and it's a detrimental knock-on effect for them. So I do think it is a lot harder than a summer to get deals done in January, but we had the chance to do this stuff in the summer. People knew this was coming, but FSG were able to ride the crest of the wave, of the quadruple chasing wave, to fool people into thinking that we were that level. But there was a lot of players that still misfired last season. We just managed to get through it. But there was, like, Fabinho was poor for the second half of last season. Salah was poor for a large majority of the season. So the writing was on the wall. And to not have done work in the summer is crazy. And the season is being written off. There is no hope for this season with no midfield. We will not get top four with no midfield reinforcements. And winning the Champions League would have to be a bigger miracle than Istanbul in Istanbul. I do have a little bit of hope that we maybe can beat Madrid, and if we do, who knows? But yeah, it would be a shock now, and it's depressing.
Just before we finish up on this topic, Paddy, I wanted to ask you, do you agree with myself and it seems like James Pearce's line of thinking, and probably many other Liverpool fans, that FSG aren't signing players in this window because the only hope that we have of getting the money for Jude and whomever else in the next window is if they bring on an investor or sell up? Are they banking everything on that happening? If they don't get that investor on board, do you think that there is the money there for Jurgen Klopp in the summer?
I just find it hard to believe. Find it hard to fathom. The money and by the way, this Bellingham money is the numbers being mooted now. I think it's going to get a lot. It's going to get very tasty. Jude Bellingham is such an unbelievable midfielder, but he's also a household name already. He's a star. He's going to command such a silly fee, and I don't believe FSG will do that, and I think it needs new owners. So if it's just FSG, I do not believe it. I don't see it.
And I agree. And the reason I don't believe about the summer money is if it was just a matter of timing, spend it now. Go get one of those midfielders now. I think this has made it abundantly clear, Paddy, that all of those eggs are in that investment basket. And they seem to be unwilling to even front Jurgen Klopp 70, 80 million quid in this window to go out there and try to save a season, which at this point could still be saved to some extent. Real Madrid in the Champions League, even with a fully fit squad and everybody right, that's a difficult time. But it can be navigated. And in the league, we're not out of it just yet. We're 7 points off or so if we win the game in hand. And we've got two big games coming up. One of them against Newcastle up in St. James's Park. And then we've got Manchester United at the end of the next 5 games at Anfield. So for me, buddy, I'm thinking if we have any real want to save the season, we need to make sure we're sorted. And in the day that's left, I'm not going to hold my breath for it.